A new glimmer of hope sparkled for several teams which had been struggling as the NFL season rounded the halfway point last Sunday. Under the direction of number 11 rookie quarterback Phil Simms, the New York Giants engaged the Rams in Los Angeles. As expected, the Ram defense was tough on the youngster, sacking him 5 times. But it is often said good things happen to those who wait, and Simms displayed both courage and patience while standing up to the heavy Los Angeles pressure. Number 11's poise proved to be the difference as he passed for 2 touchdowns and a comfortable 13-point advantage in the final period. New York held on for their 4th straight win of the season, despite some last-second efforts by quarterback Pat Hayden and receiver Preston Denard. Final was a 20-14 upset and possibly the first positive proof that the rebuilding Giants may at last be heading in the right direction. The Cincinnati Bengals have been heading in the wrong direction all year long, but against the up-and-coming Eagles, the roles reversed. Philadelphia fell flat, and their only consolation was that wide receiver Harold Carmichael tied the NFL record with 105 consecutive games with a reception. But this was Philly's only bright spot as the Bengals showed the form that once had many believing this team would challenge the Steelers for their division. Against the Eagles, Cincinnati collected 4 turnovers and 103 rushing yards by former Heisman Trophy winner Archie Griffin, number 45, in a 37-13 cakewalk. While losing their first 6, the Bengals may have conceded any hopes of a championship this season. But having won 2 of their last 3 games, those who hope to achieve such postseason honors at Cincinnati's expense should be warned. It's fair to say that Burt Jones makes the Baltimore Colts go. For when he is tight-winding the passes, receivers always seem to find openings, and runners give a big extra effort. During Baltimore's showdown with the New England Patriots last Sunday, Jones' presence inspired a team which had previously won but 2 games. Suddenly, it was as if the conference title was at stake as the men in blue kept pace with the Patriots throughout, even while quarterback Steve Grogan and receivers like Stanley Morgan threatened to run the Colts right out of the stadium. But in the closing minutes, Baltimore shook off a 2-point deficit when Jones led his team to a 12-yard Joe Washington touchdown and a 31-26 victory. For the Colts, Bengals, and Giants, Week 9 was filled with a late blooming promise, and all share the hope that this will be the start of a strong finish. Miami faithful have expressed their sentiments. They want quarterback Bob Griese to remain the Dolphin offensive leader. Griese's subpar showing has been cause for concern, but against the Green Bay Packers, the Dolphin veteran expertly utilized his fine set of wide receivers, Duriel Harris and Nat Moore, number 89. While Griese has been erratic, Miami's defense has been consistently strong. Linebacker Steve Toll, number 56, reading sweep all the way, easily beat the fullback's block in his charge to the ball carrier. The only offense Green Bay could muster against the AFC's second-ranked defense was this 78-yard pass to Paul Kaufman, number 82, off a James Lofton deflection. On this day, Griese was to prevail. The Miami signal caller completed 18 of 27 passes and methodically picking apart the Green Bay secondary. Griese's favorite target was Duriel Harris on the receiving end of 10 Griese strikes, including this 37-yard score. With the 27-7 victory, Miami regained a share of first place in the AFC East. Defense was the name of the game in Washington. 3 times the New Orleans Saints turned back the Redskins in crucial goal line situations. New Orleans has now allowed only 4 touchdowns in their last 3 games. Much of this success can be attributed to an increased understanding of the flex defense. The flex is a staggered alignment with 2 down linemen playing linebacker-like roles of control and contain, while the other 2 hit at the point of attack. Quick shifts cause confusion in blocking assignments, allowing the defense to control the line of scrimmage. Derlin Moore, number 74, stepped into the gap to stop this Redskin run. A more accustomed focal point in New Orleans is the Archie Manning to Wes Chandler connection. Chandler is rapidly becoming one of the NFL's premier wide receivers with a knack for making the big play. It was this 45-yard Manning to Chandler touchdown that helped provide just enough offense for New Orleans to defeat Washington 14-10 and vault into first place in the NFC West. While the Saints continued their upward surge, the Detroit Lions plummeted further. Joe Ferguson, the top-ranked quarterback in the NFL, threw for 339 yards, including the game winner to Reuben Gant, number 88. As Buffalo scored 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns to defeat the Lions 20-17 and end their 3-game losing streak. The leader in the NFC Central, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, utilized their strengths beautifully in winning a key divisional matchup with the Minnesota Vikings 12-10. Ricky Bell fought for 75 yards rushing, and the conference's best defense stymied Viking quarterback Tommy Kramer. Once again, Kramer piled up impressive statistics, but as has been the case all year, he had trouble putting the ball in the end zone. This interception by Mike Washington, number 40, sealed the verdict, leaving a frustrated Kramer to ponder his team's failure. Wishful thinking in the Bay Area, but quarterback Steve DeBerg, number 17, has ignited a steadily improving 49er offense. Against the Chicago Bears, DeBerg threw for 348 yards and 3 touchdowns, including this one to Paul Hofer, number 36. The Bears have an offensive weapon of their own. Walter Payton rushed for 162 yards, becoming the first back to gain 1,000 yards this year. and topping that magical mark for the 4th straight year. But with the game on the line, it was neither DeBerg nor Payton who determined the outcome. A 4th and 9 with 1:29 left saw Bears quarterback Mike Phipps hit a streaking James Scott, number 89, for a touchdown. The point after gave the Bears a 28-27 win. For the 49ers, the scenario was becoming all too familiar. A fine Steve DeBerg performance overshadowed by a porous secondary that ranks last in the NFC. For the Bears, the slight hope that the playoffs will be in their future. The race in the AFC West has turned predictably ugly as the San Diego Chargers' grip on first place becomes more tenuous with each passing week. Climbing ever closer to the top rung are the suddenly revitalized Oakland Raiders and the steady if plodding Denver Broncos. The Broncos' only breakaway threat remains their four-legged mascot, Tony the Pony, as their backfield positions are stocked with a team of slew-footed Clydesdales. However, against the Chiefs, this critical weakness did not hurt Denver, as costly lapses by the Kansas City defense ensured easy touchdowns. Usually, Bronco backs do not figure in the scoring until the situation reaches 1st and goal. However, number 30, Jim Jensen, scored from 25 yards out. And John Keyworth, number 32, threw for another when the Chiefs overcommitted too quickly on this fake sweep. Rick Upchurch's touchdown catch sealed an easy 20-3 victory as the Broncos continued to dog the heels of Don Coryell's San Diego Chargers. The division leaders ran smack into the Oakland Raiders' sledgehammer offense, featuring the blocking of number 66, Steve Sylvester, and the collision running by Mark Van Egan, number 30. While the Chargers are currently on a downslide, the Raiders have been fighting an uphill battle all season long. That they are winning the fight can be attributed to an old-fashioned offense that features 2 tight ends and few frills. It was thought that Oakland could not pass from this alignment, but in point of fact, they can. The reasons are number 87, Dave Casper, and number 88, Raymond Chester, 2 tight ends that play like wide receivers and have a feel for open spaces. The Raiders build a commanding 21-0 lead and then turn matters over to its defense, a unit constructed on brute force and intimidation. However, no one scares number 83, John Jefferson, who adjusts to a ball in flight better than any receiver in the NFL. Charger quarterback Dan Fouts broke an NFL record by passing over 300 yards for the 4th straight game. "57 of those yards came on this spectacular catch and run by Jefferson. Unfortunately for San Diego, it has lost 2 of the 4 games that Fouts went over 300 yards. The critical moment in this game happened midway in the 3rd quarter and 4 yards deep in the Raider end zone. At that time and place, rookie sprinter Ira Matthews, number 43, ran a long-distance race. Matthews' 104-yard touchdown turned the game into a romp as Oakland defeated San Diego 45-22. The AFC West was up for grabs again. And when cash is on the line, NFL history proves you don't bet against a money team like the Oakland Raiders. The NFL's true version of a black and blue division has long been the AFC Central. Last week, Cleveland's Greg Pruitt was the latest casualty in a three-team war for the title that has the Steelers one game ahead of the Oilers and Browns. In St. Louis, the tiny superstar was hurt on the first play. If that wasn't bad enough, several snaps later, the Cardinals' Steve Neal's number 53 fell on a botched handoff. When Cleveland neglected to touch him down, Neal scrambled to his feet and ran 72 yards for a gift-wrapped 6 points. The bad news continued for Cleveland when fullback Mike Pruitt also was lost with an injury. But it was the reserves that keyed Cleveland's comeback. With both Pruitts out, veteran Cleo Miller, number 30, ripped 39 yards for one Cleveland touchdown, while rookie running back Pat Moriarty, number 25, plunged for another as the Browns erased the early Cardinal lead, erupting for 21 points in the fourth quarter. With the bench showing the way, the game's longest play came from Greg Pruitt's replacement, Tiny Dino Hall, number 26. At 5'7", 160 pounds, Hall is the smallest player in the league, and while his 52-yard scamper was spectacular, the rookie from Glassboro State had lots of help on the play. Another look at his long run reveals teamwork made it go. First, Cleo Miller, number 30, hooked the penetrating linebacker, allowing Hall to get outside. Then just past the line of scrimmage, three key blocks opened a gaping alley. Hall poured through, put a good move on the free safety, then was the recipient of a great play by rookie receiver Willis Adams. Despite the fact the two remaining defenders had the angle, Adams sped past them, avoiding a clip, and wiped out both tacklers. The touchdown was a textbook example of team blocking. The 38-20 win over St. Louis brought the Browns' record to 6-3, tied with Houston for second in the tough AFC Central. In the Astrodome, the Oilers withstood another aerial attack by the Richard Todd Wesley Walker connection. Walker amassed 111 yards on only 4 receptions in the first half alone, then suffered a sprained knee which will sideline him for a month or more. With Earl Campbell subpar, Houston's Dante Pastorini went to the air 36 times for over 200 yards and a 37-yard touchdown to tight end Mike Barber. Despite the plethora of passing, it took Tony Frisch's 35-yard field goal 5 minutes into overtime to pull out a win for Houston. Thank God for the immigration laws, Bum Phillips said of the Austrian-born kicker, as the Oilers prevailed over New York by Frisch's 3 points. In Pittsburgh, a gilt-edged performance by the Steelers defense turned a Super Bowl reprise with Dallas into a shambles. Number 68, L.C. Greenwood, symbolized the day on this play, on which he simply threw Cowboy tackle Jim Cooper at Tony Dorsett for a loss. Tony D never broke free, and when Roger Staubach, operating from the shotgun, was on target, Steeler intimidation continued. Dallas dropped passes all afternoon. Staubach went to the air 42 times, proof things weren't going the Cowboys' way. Roger was hurried on nearly every throw, sacked 3 times, and finally knocked out of the game with a concussion. Pittsburgh's defensive dominance was so thorough, Dallas scored only on a field goal. It was the first time in 106 games the Cowboys were held without a touchdown. The only 6-pointers of the day came from Franco Harris, who scored twice, once on a 48-yard run as the Steelers and Cowboys proved their ballyhooed rematch couldn't measure up to the original. Steeler superiority as the best team in football was obvious. One Cowboy, however, managed to take the whipping in stride. Dallas's good humor man figured this was simply a warm-up for Super Bowl 14.